Yeah, I think we are live right now. Okay. Hey Samson, today we are going to discuss about audit committee and corporate governance, which is a scoring and an easy chapter for a CA final audit syllabus. Okay, it actually comes with a few uh, provisions with regards to law, like board of directors composition and like committees composition and independent directors, uh, independent directors eligibility and all. A few things come here also. Okay, with regards to the audit committee and corporate governance, we have included all the questions. MTPs, RTPs were also included, and study material questions have also been included. And not only that, we'll also just cover up all the concepts that were there in the study material also. Okay, apart from the concepts that have been covered in, mostly almost 80% of the concepts will get covered in the question bank itself. Okay, and the remaining portion will do that after the question discussion and all in the study material. Okay, first we'll see our first question. Okay, first of all, let me give you an introduction with regards to what is audit committee and what is corporate governance. Audit committee, you know that it's actually a committee that was formed by the board of directors, and all the duties of the audit committee, all that we know already. We'll discuss that later in the coming session. Into 4 to 5 minutes we'll discuss why audit committee is there, what are its functions and all. Okay, what is corporate governance? Actually, how corporate governance have come into picture is that it's actually a system that was set up by SEBI. Yeah, SEBI had issued some regulations, that is LODR regulations. You see, LODR regulations were applicable to listed entities who actually were in process of listing or who had already listed their equity shares in a stock exchange, right? So for them, LODRs were applicable. LODR regulations were classified into two main procedures. One is substantive procedures or substantive provisions. Say substantive provisions, like substantive means what we have thought of. Substantive means specific to these companies whose securities have got listed or whose debentures have got listed. Okay, and provisions is mostly like a law. Okay, provision, what is the difference between provision and proviso? Provision is the law that was there, proviso is exceptions to this law. Okay, substantive provisions and procedural requirements. What is procedural requirements? That requirements, like say these all the materials that were required, these are the resolution, these are all the documents that it required in order the company to list its shareholders in that particular stock exchange. These are procedural requirements. What is specific provisions? In these specific provisions, there was provisions with regards to the corporate governance. In substantive provisions, a small portion is corporate governance, which we are going to study right now. This is the background for corporate governance. Is actually a part of SEBI LODR regulations. In SEBI LODR regulations, substantive provisions. Okay, in substantive provisions, a small portion is the rules and regulations with regards to the corporate governance. First of all, why corporate governance? Is that it's a system to ensure that whether the company who was managed by the management or board of directors, whether it's doing its work in proper transparency or not, because so much of public money was involved. Okay, how public money was involved? Because it's a listed entity, all the citizens of shareholders put their money in those stock exchanges or securities of that company, so that's why public money is involved. That's why these all are regulations that were given by SEBI has to be followed by the listed entities. Okay, this is the importance of this chapter and introduction also. Okay, first we'll see the first question. State the main features of qualified and independent audit committee that was set up under SEBI LODR regulation. You see here, what are the features of the audit committee? Features or characteristics or like say composition, anything. What does or constitution of audit committee? how does audit committee have to be formed? Okay, first we'll see the composition and all. I have prepared a table like a snapshot with regards to the board and all the committees that were there. Wait, where is that? Yeah. See, the second line item is the audit committee, as the question is with regards to the composition, constitution and features of the audit committee. You see, only two things with regards to any kind of questions that with regards to committee. First thing, how they were formed, that is composition, like meetings, quorum and all. We have to write all these things. And second type of question with regards to committees is their roles and responsibilities. Only 2 points would be asked, only from two sides of the coin. Only 2 types could be asked from this chapter with regards to any kind of committees, not only audit committee. Here they have asked about the features. Features is composition, constitution, all those things, right? If at all they ask for role or responsibility, duties, we'll write the another thing which we'll discuss it later. With regards to the features, see, yeah, first, audit committee shall have 3 members, but those 3 members shall be, at least 3 members have to be directors. 3 directors shall be the members of the minimum, this is minimum 3 directors shall be members in the audit committee. And this is independent director portion. How much portion they have to be? At least 2/3 portion of the members in the audit committee shall be independent directors. Okay, and if at all a company is having SR equity shares, that is superior right equity shares, that is one equity share is usually 1 vote, but superior equity shares would be, one equity share would be say like 5 votes. Okay, these type of equity shares were treated as SR equity shares. Okay, if at all the company has SR equity shares, then all have to be independent directors. All the members in the audit committee have to be independent directors, and the chairperson of the audit committee has to be independent director, and the secretary of this audit committee has to be a CS. Okay, and the meetings with regards to the audit committees, they have to actually make 4 meetings in a year, and there should be at least 120, you see, there should not be more than 120 days gap between 2 meetings. Okay, the maximum gap should be 120 days, that's it. Okay, and with regards to the quorum, there should be at least 2 members or 1/3 of members of this audit committee, whichever is greater. Okay, and in this quorum only 2 members have to be independent directors. If minimum to minimum 2 independent directors had been present at that meeting, then quorum was there for that meeting, because how many independent directors you require? 2 independent directors. How many? 2 or 1/3, whichever is greater. If at all you see 1/3 had come to 3 out of 3, 2 has to be independent directors plus another 1 could be any director or chairperson. Okay, this is with regards to the audit committee constitution and composition and member meetings and quorum. Okay, by the way, you get this PDF in the Telegram channel, do check that out. And okay, now we'll see how they have answered this. You see, the features of the audit committee were, see, audit committee shall have minimum 3 directors. We have seen the same thing in the snapshot table also. And 2/3 shall have independent directors. 2/3 of the members shall be independent directors. If at all they have superior right equity shares, then all the members should be independent directors only. Okay, we have seen that in our table, right? Okay, and with regards to the chairperson, see, the chairperson should be an independent director, and the company secretary shall act as a secretary to this committee. And that's it. These were the points that had been asked from the table, and in table we also have discussed the meetings and quorums. And apart from the table, what are all the things that they have kept here with regards to features were, first thing, with regards to what all things we have discussed about the quantity. Say all the members, these many members have to be there, these many independent directors have to be, all the quantity we have discussed. But what about the quality? That how they could be, how they should be. They have to be financially literate, and at least one member shall have financial management expertise. You see, what does audit committee do? You see, what are the responsibilities of audit committee? It actually governs management and management actions and auditors. How management, what is its responsibility? Preparing financial statements. What is auditor's responsibility? Auditing financial statements. Okay, for since it has to govern the people that deal with the financial statements, it need to have some financial literature, right? So that's why they need to have financial literacy, and at least one member need to have financial management expertise. Okay, that's it. And the chairperson shall be present at AGM. This is compulsory, it is not discretionary. The chairperson of the committee, audit committee, shall present at AGM to answer the shareholders' queries. Okay, audit committee at its discretion shall invite financial director or head of finance function if at all, or else it might meet without them also. These were the main features. You see, we have discussed the quantity right from the table, and quality is financial literacy. Okay, and that's it with regards to the features of audit committee. Now we'll see our second question, that is write a short notes on content of management discussion and analysis. You see, what is management discussion and analysis? Is that a special report? It's actually a part of annual report. Let me go through with, let me show you a few examples with regards to the annual report. Yeah. Okay, first we'll see what are all the things that were there in the annual report, and then we'll just move on to the annual reports later on. First, what does that thing should have? You see, management discussion and analysis has to be given by the management in the annual report. Okay, what are all the things that they have to include? First of all, who reads the annual report, man? Investors who want to invest. Okay, for the investor, what all the things you have to give? The management, what all the things it will give with regards to financial statements, financial ratios. If at all there's a significant change, that is more than 25% or more changes with regards to debtors and turnover. You see, management is mostly responsible with day-to-day activities like financial performance of the entity, right? So if at all the management had achieved any kind of significant improvement, or with regards to significant decrease in of the ratios also, it has to mention all the financial ratios like debt equity ratio, most important, that's operating profit margin, that is gross profit, and net profit margin. Okay, that's with regards to P&L account, and the details with regards to return on net worth. Okay, these all the financial ratios that the management will give with from the point of view of investors. Investors requires financial ratios and the return on net worth. Okay, we'll go into a step ahead. For the people who want to see success in the business, whether this business could, whether we could invest that in this business for the next 5 years or not. For all the mutual funds advisors, or for the mutual fund investors, all the qualified qualified investors and all, what do they check? What do they check? They check for the future of the business, future profitability of the business. For that, management will give what it will give: the opportunities and threat that the company is having, the opportunities that the company is having to grow, and the threats that it has with regards to that, and with regards to risks and concern that the company is having, and outlook. And with regards to the what is actually outlook, outlook is, let me go through you three annual reports. First, we are going to see about Avenue Supermarkets annual report, that is the DMart annual report. In the management analysis, management discussion and analysis, you see, what do what have given? You see, outlook. First, we'll just read out what all the things that they have given here. Inflation led by domestic and international factors. Okay, there had been inflation that was there, and it is one of the key indicators to track going forward of Indian economy. You see, this inflation, they're saying that it is a key indicator that Indian economy will grow. and favorable demographics. You see, this is first point and this second point, favorable demographic is like demographics with regards to categories of consumers, increasing urbanization and stable geopolitical environment contribute to key long-term growth drivers for India. See, mostly DMart do business in India, right? So they were talking about the nation in which they were doing the business. Okay, done with the DMart. Now we'll go with Axis Bank first. You see, in Axis Bank, the types of securities like Tier 2 bonds, investor bonds and all. You see, ICRA rating, CARE rating, CRISIL rating, these were third party credit rating agencies, right? They have given outlook like stable. You see, they are giving as a stable, right? Some third party was giving a certificate that these all securities were stable. Okay, now we'll see the audit report of Tata Motors. In its outlook, what it has given. See, there were several initiatives that were taken by Government of India. This Indian passenger car market was valued 32.70 billion, will reach 54.84 billion. And see here, with the increase in fuel prices, the passengers will go for mostly electrified vehicles and all, and mostly with regards to passenger vehicles they'll opt for. See how what they were saying is that the industry, the nation that they were doing business in was stable, and the industry in which it was doing the business would grow. So this is what outlook is. You see, some other external factors would also contribute our entity for a prosperous growth of business, not only our management of the company. So this is what outlook is. Okay, done, right? And this is all for the qualified investor buyers and all. For economists, see, for economists like industrial structural developments and product wise performance, and with regards to the internal controls is always responsibility of the management. They also have to mention with regards to the internal control systems, and with regards to the financial performance to the operational performance, right? These things. And for the employees, they'll give any developments with regards to the human resources and all, including the number of people that have been employed. These are all the things that the management will give in its management discussion and analysis. See, for the investors and all, what all it will give? It will give financial ratios and the return on, if there was any increase, or what's the return on net worth for the investors. And for qualified institutional buyers, for the future of the business, they'll give opportunities, threats, risks and concerns, outlook. And since its internal controls is the responsibility of management, it will deal with that. It will also discuss those points. And for employees, they'll give developments in human resource policies and the number of people those were employed. And for the economists and all, they'll give industry structure and product wise performance and the discussion between financial and operational performance, right? These are all the things that management will discuss in management discussion and analysis. Okay, and a short note on corporate governance. As we have already said, corporate governance is actually a system to ensure transparency and better timely financial reporting. It was mostly done by, it was actually a part of SEBI LODR regulations, where they have two parts. It was divided into two parts, that is substantive provisions and procedural requirements. Okay, and that's it. This is what a small note on corporate governance. And now we'll move on with our next question, that is question number 3, that is D Limited, a company incorporated in India, has 6 members in audit committee. Okay, audit committee, 6 members. Oh, fine. Due to recessionary conditions in India, the revenue of the company is going down. Okay, there's a slowdown in activities of the company. Okay, therefore it was expected that there would not be any significant work for the members in the audit committee. Okay, considering the overall recession, the members unanimously to meet once in a year. You see, in our snapshot, what we have seen, they have to meet at least 4 times in a year, right? See, due to recession, they had met only once. Okay, They reviewed monthly information system of the company and found no errors. Okay, as the auditor delimited, would you consider the decision taken by audit committee is line with SEBI LODR regulations? No, it was not in line. Okay, see, first of all, we have to write all the provisions with regards to the meeting. Since they are talking about the meetings, they have to meet 4 times in a year. Where is that? At least 4 times in a year, and there should not be more gap. That is, maximum gap should be 120 days. There should not be in between two meetings. Okay, there should not be more than 120 days gap. And we also have to discuss the quorum for that. See, quorum is 2 members or 1/3 members and plus minimum 2 independent directors. The things that were there in the snapshot, right? Yeah. See, audit committee 4, maximum 120 days gap, 2 to 1/3, whichever is greater, minimum 2 independent directors, right? You have to write all those provisions and link to what are all the things, the facts that were given in the question, and say they have not met. You see, they have reviewed only monthly information and the same is not sufficient as per LODR regulations. And the audit committee shall, okay, mandatorily review. This is actually a separate point with regards to the audit committee. What all the things that audit committee shall mandatorily review? See, audit committee actually governs 3 things. Its role or its mandatorily review has been segregated into 3 things. One is with regards to management, and second thing with regards to auditor. Okay, what management will give reports? You see, management in its annual report give management discussion and analysis. That's what we have seen in earlier question, right? That thing management will give, and management will give letters. What to whom? Auditor. The audit committee has to check that. And with regards to the auditors, say like audit reports, say whether it be statutory or internal auditors, because we are doing statutory audit now, so our scope do not get considered there. So mostly we'll see internal audit report. Okay, and the appointment of chief internal auditor. Appointment of internal auditor also have to be checked. See, all the 4 points have done, right? Management discussion and analysis, management letters, and internal audit reports, and appointment, removal, and terms of remuneration of chief internal auditor. Plus, what the third one? That is statement of deviations. You see, apart from these things, audit committee, what it will do is, in its role, it actually take care of related party transactions. You see, make sure a related party transaction was not included in this mandatory review. That is an amendment. See, if you see here in our amendments PDF, again this was also available in the Telegram channel if you want. All the things were available. See, the statement of significant related parties transactions not mandatorily require review by audit committee. This is an amendment. Make a note out of it. Okay, so they usually check related party transactions, intercorporate loans, if at all they sell more than 20% of assets in any kind of subsidiary, they also have to approve for that. And they also review the financial reporting process, all these things. Okay, so, and they will also check whether the purpose for taking loans, like they have taken some say like IPOs or FPOs, or they have taken some term loans, or they have taken preferential allotment, all these they have raised funds, whether they were using for that purpose or not. If at all there were any deviations, you have to check. The audit committee has to give statement of deviations with regards to that. He has to mandatory review the statement of deviations. Okay, this deviations is prepared by the management, and you have to give, audit committee has to mandatorily review those deviations. See, in quarterly statement of deviations and annual statements of fund utilization, whether they have been used for the purpose it was raised or not. Okay, this is what the third question is. And now we'll see 4th question. Okay, totally there were 19 types of questions that could be asked. Okay, if you see, I haven't repeated the questions. You see, the same question I have just created as a category wise. Okay, Mr. I was appointed as a statutory auditor for new limited and old limited. Okay, there's no relation between new and old limited, I guess. Okay, because they haven't given. Both the companies are having their base in Chennai. That's it. They were not like holding companies or subsidiary companies. Two independent companies. Okay. Yeah. New company, old company. That's fine. And they have recently listed in their shares in the stock exchange. Obviously, audit committee and corporate governance. See, audit committee, the applicability is, we'll discuss it later, but corporate governance will be applicable to the entities to whom they were listed, right? Yeah, in stock exchange for the financial year 2021. Mr. The statutory auditor has signed limited review for the reports of each quarter till the quarter ended 31st December. You see, Q1 he had done for the quarter ended June, right? July, August, September, Q2, September, Q3, December. Okay, for all the 3 quarters he had done the review for both the companies, for new as well as old company. Okay, we are at quarter 4. The time frame was quarter 4. Okay, owing to his personal commitments and increased workload, he had resigned in new limited. Okay, he had resigned in this new limited on 30th January. That is right after 30 days, right? 30 days from the quarter ended, right? 31st December quarter will end, and on after 30 days in January 30th he had resigned. That is less than 45 days. And most obviously, if at all an auditor who had resigned, who had actually audited all the 3 quarters and he was in his 4th quarter, we need not check the 45 days things. Why? Because see, he had done all the 3 things, so he has to give limited review on quarter 4 and have to give the audit report also, right? And see here, if at all he was disqualified by law, then only is the exemption he should not give. Okay. Okay, now we'll see. And ask the company to appoint another auditor to issue audit report for the remaining quarter. Okay, but the management did not accept the same. Okay, Mr. Ibrahim continued as auditor in Old Limited. During the first week of March, Mrs. W, wife of the statutory auditor, borrowed 6 lakhs, that is more than 5 lakhs. Disqualification had happened. Okay, then disqualification as per section 141, then he has to vacate his office immediately. Disqualified has occurred. Okay, only for the shares for the relative, that is more than 1 year, corrective measures have to be taken within 60 days. But for all indebtedness and all, no corrective actions. Okay. Okay, he was disqualified as auditor in the old limited also. You see, he resigned due to work pressure in new limited. Now see, because his wife had taken loan from this company and he also was disqualified for this. Both the appointments have gone. Okay, having come to this, Mr. Ibrahim immediately informed the management that he had been disqualified to act as an auditor and told them that he won't issue audit report. Yeah, that's fine, right? You see, even in our wait, we'll go and check the study material also. It will happen, right? So we could easily revise the things. But the management of the company argued that it's legal responsibility to do the same. No, there's no legal responsibility. Whether contention of management of old limited to give the audit report, and new limited to give the audit report in which he had resigned, and old limited, it is 141 disqualification is justified or not. You see, we'll go with the study material. Okay, see, yeah, you see, for all the listed entities, if auditor resigns within 45 days from the end of the quarter, he has to give limited review for that quarter. Okay, if it is he had resigned in Q3, then he has to give audit report or limited review for period ending Q2. And here also, if it is more than 45 days, then he have to give the limited review or audit report for the next quarter also. That is, next quarter is quarter ended is this December also he has to give. Okay, these 2 points. But this 245 days time frame would not be applicable if at all an auditor had done audit for all the 3 quarters, mark my words, all the 3 quarters in the year, and in Q4 in any time frame he had resigned or he had just vacated the office, except when the auditor is disqualified due to section 141. That what happened in our question. If at all he had done that, he need not give audit report. But if at all he was not disqualified under section 141, he has to issue limited review or audit review for the last quarter plus the whole financial year as well. Okay, as per SEBI LODR regulations. Okay, now we'll see on our question. You see, the contention of new limited is true because he had done all the first three quarters, so he has to give limited review for the next quarter also. We'll see. But in old limited, as he is disqualified, he should not give. Okay, these were all the facts of case, right? See, in the given situation, if the auditor has signed or given audit report for the first 3 quarters, then the auditor shall, before resignation, shall issue limited review or audit report for the last quarter of such financial year as well, and audit report for that financial year. Okay, and this provision will not apply if had acquired any disqualification under section 141. Here you see, he had resigned, so he has to give audit report. So Mr. Ibrahim is required to issue audit report for the last quarter and audit report for the financial year. And for the new limited, since he had he should not issue the audit report because he was disqualified under section 141. So the conclusion, this is the conclusion, as per the contention of new limited is correct and tenable, and the old limited management is not correct. Okay, that's it with regards to section question 4. And now we'll see question number 5, that is R and Co, a chartered accountant firm, appointed as principal auditor for a listed company T Limited. Okay, the figures and of income and net worth of 5 out of 7 components were given. See, there were a total 7 components that were there, but they have given only 5 components data, which are unlisted subsidiaries. No problem. For listed entity, it's a material subsidiary, material unlisted subsidiary also, LODR regulations is applicable and they have to disclose. Okay, is tabulated below for the immediate preceding financial year along with the consolidated amount. See, for the consolidated amount, consolidated income is 300, net worth is 800 CR. Let's put it as CR. Okay, the remaining 2 components, component F and component G, were unaudited. Okay, according to Mr. Auditor, component F is material to consolidate in financial statement, whereas component G is not material to consolidate in the financial statement. Okay, and this fact had been also discussed with the TCWG, and it will be also a part of the report as key audit matter in accordance with 701. See, key audit matters only material things, right? Material, here material is component F, so it would come under key audit matter. See, material component G is immaterial, right? It would go under other matters, right? It will go under other matters because it is not material. Okay, and which is the components of Trifirm can be termed as material subsidiary. First of all, what is the definition of material subsidiary? When it has more than 10% of its share is more than 10% of consolidated income or consolidated net worth. We'll see it in a study material. Where is that? Yeah, see, material subsidiary means whose income or net worth exceeds 10%. If it touches 10%, whether it's a material subsidiary, no. It has to be more than 10%. Okay, then only we call it as a material subsidiary. Okay. Now we'll see whether these components that they have given, component A, B, C, D, E, were material subsidiary or not. First, see, consolidated income 35. That's income of component A divided by consolidated income 300. It comes around 11.67%, right? Okay, we'll go with the solution, how what all the percentage and all. It would be a time waste if we do that, right? See, more than 10%. Okay, and here it's more than 10%, more than 10%. If it actually satisfied any one of these conditions, that's fine. You see here, it is not an and, it's actually an or. Where is the study material? Yeah, or, right? Income or net worth, not income and net worth. Any condition, if it satisfies, no, it chalega. Okay, see here, component A, component C and component D would be treated as material subsidiaries. You see, component A, component C, component D, since it exceeds 10%, would be termed as material subsidiaries. Okay, and we'll see second question. And in the board of which unlisted subsidiaries, at least one independent director of T Limited needs to be appointed or would be appointed. Okay, see, at least one independent director of the board of directors of T Limited shall be appointed in the board of component C, D respectively, as their shares in their consolidated income exceeds 20%. See, the company's independent director has to be appointed in that component board of directors if at all it is exceeds 20%, right? If its net worth is more than 20%. Okay, then we call it, and we'll see next question. Yeah, what shall be the audit consideration in relation to reporting in case of unaudited components by the auditor, and how this principal auditor shall report in case of component F and component G? As we have already discussed, since not actually consolidating a component is actually a material item, and that is of a material component, then you have to include that in key audit matters. You see, component F is material, so it is a key audit matter. Anything that was material comes under the key audit matters, right, where there's a lot of attention that was drawn by the auditor. And since G is not that important, you could include that in other matter paragraphs. And moreover, not consolidating a component is actually a qualifying term, right? It's actually a material thing. So we have to check whether we have to give modifications under SA 705 or not. Okay, these were the points you have to write, 3 points. Since not including or not consolidating the consolidated not including the components that were there, and not auditing the material subsidiaries, it's a serious matter. So we have to check for the modifications we have to give under SA 705. Okay, with that's it. Now we'll see next question, that is question number 6. That is the comment on the following with regards to the compliance of corporate governance to be issued under LODR for listed companies, for among one of the top 1000 listed companies where the board of directors consists 20 directors. Okay, board of directors have 20 directors. Okay, you see, first we'll see what are all the limits with regards to the composition of the board first. Okay, then it would be very easy for us. So first, with regards to the board of directors, top 2000 companies, you see, what they want is provisions with regards to top 1000, right? Top 1000 was included in top 2000 companies, right? You see, these are all 2000 companies, top 2000 companies. In top 2000, they want for top 1000 companies, right? So the provisions of these 1000 companies will also get applicable to top 1000 companies, right? Are you getting what I'm saying? Okay, wait. Let it be like this. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. See, these were all top 2000 companies. Let that be. Okay. In this, they have top 1000 companies. Okay. These were top 500 companies. But the provision here is, see, for all the top 2000 companies, minimum directors have to be 6. Okay. So for top 1000 companies, the minimum directors have to be 6, unless until there's a specific regulation or specific rule was there for that 1000 companies. Okay. For top 500 companies also, minimum directors have to be 6. Okay. That's right. You have understood that basic point, right? Okay. For top 2000 companies, minimum they have to be 6 members or as a board of directors. That's fine. And constituting independent directors should be the majority. Okay. And with regards to the meetings, they have to meet at least 4 times a year, and there should not be a gap more than 120 days. And the quorum is 3 or 1/3 of members, whichever is greater. Okay. For all the top 2000 companies. In 2000 companies, if at all there were not any specific regulations that were given to 1000 companies, 2000 companies rules only will get applied. Okay, with that said, now we'll just revise all the regulations with regards to board of directors, composition. Okay, board of directors composition, we'll just check for that. Yeah. Here, see, actually this is the introduction portion, that a company should have optimum combination, like at least it need to have one woman director, since this LODR regulations apply to all listing entities, so those regulations would get applied. So a company should have at least one woman director, whether it's top 100 company or top 500, top 1000, top 5000, no problem. If it's a listed entity, then one woman director has to be there. So for all the companies that were there for which LODR regulations apply, there should be at least one woman director, and not less than 50% shall be non-executive directors. Okay, what is the difference between non-executive directors and executive directors? Okay, let me give you one thing. See, executive, let me tell you 4 points so that you'll understand what is the difference between executive and non-executive directors. Okay, executive directors participate in day-to-day activities, and non-executive directors only, they do not actually involve in the day-to-day activities but give a strategical guidance. Okay, strategical guidance. Okay, executive directors were full-time, non-executive directors are part-time. Okay, and here executive directors are paid on basis of their performance plus fixed amount also, but non-executive directors were paid only on fixed basis. Okay, and executive directors were paid as per expertise, and non-executive directors for their experience. Okay, by these categories or things, you might now understood what is the difference between executive directors and non-executive directors. You see, executive directors who were so young and who actually involved in all the actions, all the action oriented stuff in the company. Non-executive directors were like middleman or old man who actually use their brain, who use their experience, who they do not participate in so actively like these young executive directors, but they actually give experience. They use most of their mind, like strategical guidance and all. You see, executive directors were young, they have so much time, they usually have a full time things. But non-executive directors, they were in like retirement age and all, they'll do some part-time work. Okay. And see, executive directors were mostly paid on base of their performance. Like say if they have, after employing them, if the net profit had increased to some CR and all, you'll get 2% of that remuneration and all. Non-executive directors, all the things they have seen in their life, fixed like pension and a fixed fees. Okay, expertise and experience. Okay, by this thing you might have noticed that these were the differences between how you have to actually visualize in your mind that what are the executive directors were young, dynamic, who actually perform in day-to-day activities. Non-executive directors were mostly like a middle-aged or old-aged, like 45 plus aged non-executive directors. Okay. Okay. And optimum composition is 50-50. Okay, executive and non-executive should be 50-50. Okay, for the top 1000 listed entities, there have to be at least one independent woman director. Okay, we'll just write this things in this snapshot here. Okay, see, wait, top 2000, minimum 6. Okay, that's fine. Top 1000, you see, one woman independent director. A woman has to be an independent director. Okay, now we'll see the other things. You see, this is all the top 1500, they were on basis of market capitalization. Okay, number of shares that were there into the market price. Okay, and the auditor should ensure that no listed entity shall appoint a person as a non-executive director who has attained age of 75 years unless a special resolution had been passed. You see, non-executive directors, what we have said yearly aged persons, right? How much? The maximum cap for that age, 75 years. Okay, let them take rest. Even it's a part-time, no need, let them take rest. But if they are so enthusiastic and so willing and they wanted to do work and your company need their guidance, then take a special resolution. Okay, and the directors of the listed entities shall comply with the following conditions. You see, this is what actually cap for the directors. Actually, this is like auditors, we have maximum 20 audits that we could do as an auditor, right? For directors also, the maximum limit how many directorships they could hold. You see, a person should not be more than 7 listed entities. If it touches 7, no problem. If it's more than 7, that's a problem. We'll write that here. You see, we'll write that here. We'll just make a note so that you might take a screenshot, or I'll just upload that in the Telegram channel. You see, we'll write it here. Directorship limits. Okay. C, should not be more than 7 listed entities. 7, no problem, you could do that. Okay, and you see, a person who is working as a whole-time director or a managing director in any listed entity shall serve as independent director in not more than 3 listed entities. You see, if at all a person, who is a whole-time director or a managing director in not only our company, in any company, okay, in any company, any listed entity, he should not be independent director with regards to independent directorships, not more than 3 listed entities. Okay, 3 listed entities. 3, no problem, you could do that. Okay, only we are talking about listed here, right? That is equity listed. Okay, only equity listed, only equity shares were listed, then these companies were treated as listed here. Okay, if only debentures were listed, then it is not treated as listed there. Okay, Okay, now we'll see the other things. The chairperson should be a non-executive director. At least 1/3 of board should comprise the independent directors, if at all. You see, if at all the chairperson is a non-executive director, then 1/3 of board of directors shall be independent directors. Okay, and let me quickly tell you the things. And if he's not a regular independent non-executive director, if the company is not at all having any kind of non-executive director only, then half of the board of directors shall be independent directors. Okay, that's fine. If he's a non-executive director, okay, plus he's a promoter also, then also half of the board of directors should be independent directors. Okay, that's the regulations in the LODR regulations. And for the top 500 companies, and if the chairperson is non-executive directors, and the chairperson should be wait, the chairperson should be a non-executive director, plus he should not be related to management or managing director or CEO of the company. That's it. If it's top 500 companies, the chairperson has to be a non-executive director, plus he should not be related to the management or managing director or CEO. Okay, you see here, this is what it talks about, the same thing. And top 2006 members we have discussed, and the top 500 we have discussed. He has to be a non-executive director and should not be related to managing director and chief executive director. And if at all a company, a listed entity, is having outstanding superior right equity shares, then at least half of board of directors should comprise of independent directors. Okay, we'll write that here also. Okay, if at all a company is having, wait here, outstanding superior equity shares, then board of directors half have to be independent directors. At least half have to be independent directors. And that's it with regards to the composition. And independent non-executive director should not have any material pecuniary relationship for the previous 2 years, same qualities of an independent director, and he should not be a lessor, he should not be a lessee, he should not be a material supplier, same all the points that were there in eligibility of the independent director. And the substantial shareholder he should not be, that is, he should not own 2% or more. If it touches 2%, then he is not eligible to be appointed as independent non-executive director or independent director. Okay, that's it with regards to the board composition. We have learnt all the points with regards to how a board has to be constituted. Now we'll answer this question. You see, a non-executive director is a chairman. Okay, fine, non-executive director is a chairman, no problem. Okay, if a non-executive director is a chairman, then board 1/3 shall be independent directors, right? If you see here, top 1000 companies, top 1000 companies, if he is a non-executive director, 1/3 of board should be independent directors. Okay, then one non-executive director has attained age of 70 years, no problem. If it's more than 75 years, then there is a problem. Okay, one director is a director in 8 other listed entities. You see, maximum directorships 7. If it's 8, then this is not in compliance with LODR regulations. And the managing director is serving as independent director in 4 listed entities. Maximum limit how many? 3 listed entities, of which one's equity shares are not listed in stock exchange. Okay, then -1, 4 - 1, 3, then it is in compliance. Okay, only when equity shares are listed, you treat it as listed with regards to the management cap. Okay, management, that is 7 or 3. Okay, the non-executive chairman is the promoter. Okay, if it's a non-executive chairman is a promoter, then board of director has to be half. Okay, listed entity which has 9 independent directors. You see how many board of directors were there? 20 board of directors were there. Out of 20, since the non-executive chairman is promoter, how many? Half should be the independent directors, right? Seats, half. So 10 divided by 20 divided by 2 is minimum 10 directors has to be independent directors, but there were only 9. So this is also not in compliance with LODR regulations, and one independent director has been serving as independent director in 8 listed entities of which equity shares are listed on stock exchange. Can he do that? So no, that was not in compliance with LODR regulation. C. Non-executive director attained age 70. No problem, no violation. Director 8 other listed entities, non-compliance. Managing director 4 other listed entities. So once equity shares were non-listed, so not exceeded the prescribed limit, no violation. Non-executive chairman is promoter, so at least half have to be the independent directors, so it is less than half. Half is 10, less than half 9, so there is a violation. And one independent director has been serving as independent director in 8 listed entities of which equity shares have been listed in stock exchange. A person shall not serve as independent director more than 7 listed entities. Okay, so he has to withdraw. There is a non-compliance for exceeding the prescribed limit. With that, we have completed our question number 6. Now we'll see question number 7. Okay. The auditors are required to understand, evaluate and validate the entity level controls as a part of audit engagement, obviously, the result of which had an impact in the nature, timing, extent of audit procedures. In evaluating the effect of such control, existence and effectiveness, assessment of whistleblower policy. Okay, they were talking about the whistleblower policy's importance. Specify the procedures with regards to how do you understand and evaluate the whistleblower policy. It is so direct and so simple question. You see, they have just copy pasted the question, what are all the things that they have given, and see, all the questionnaire was there. Questionnaire, this is a form of questions, whether actually there does exist a whistleblower policy. Was there whistleblower policy in existence? Does the company have a whistleblower policy? Okay, if at all, was there in any kind of written format? Okay, you see, is that policy documented or approved? We have to ask for that. And whether you communicated the whistleblower policy, has the whistleblower policy had been communicated to all the employees? There's a question. And after, you see, what is the main purpose of communication? Understanding whether the employees have understood the purpose and their obligations with regards to the whistleblower policy. If they hadn't understood, have you made any training or any kind of programs to make them understand the contents and purpose of that policy? Both the things with regards to understand. First thing, whether they have understood, and second thing, what you have done, what are the things that you have in order to make them understand. And after understanding, they will do all their work and all. Whether you are monitoring the effectiveness of the policy, this is follow-up procedures. And if you find any kind of deviations or non-compliance, how you are dealing with that. Okay, remedial actions. So simple process, right? So logical process. Whether, first of all, whether a whistleblower policy is in existence, you have to check for that. And that was there in any kind of format, or you were just saying it orally. And whether you have communicated to that. And after communication, whether they have understood or not, and understood the purpose and their obligations. Okay. And what had you made, what are the measures you have taken in order to make them understand their purpose and obligations. just give me a second, buddies. Yeah. And after that, monitoring follow-up policy, whether there were the policy that you had kept, whether that was effective or not. You have to check for that, and any kind of deviations or non-compliances with that, whether how you are how you are dealing with those remedial actions. This is so simple whistleblower policy. Okay, just a logical procedure. Okay, first 8th question. Comment on the following in light of certificate of compliance of conditions with regards to corporate governance to be issued for listed company, okay, where the board of directors board consists of 10 directors, including a non-executive director as a chairman. Okay, non-executive director as a chairman. Okay, there were 5 meetings that were held during the year. No problem. Minimum 4, maximum as they wish. Okay. 1 2 3 4 5. We'll see the time frames here. Okay, see this is whether we'll see whether it's more than 120 days or not. 120 days is mostly say like for 4 months. We'll see whether there were more than gap of 4 months or not. See, April, May, 2 months gap, no problem, that's less than 120 days. You see here, full month of June, July, 7th month, August, 8th month, September. Okay, in 3 months gap, 90 days, less than 120 days, no problem. Here you see 9th September month, October, 10th month, 11th November, 12th December, 4 months. You see, after 4 months plus 2 days, 4 months plus 2 days, that is more than 120 days. Okay, you see, this is just a rough calculations. You have to do that in calculator and all. So it's on a prima facie note, it's more than 120 days. You see, this is in violation. Okay, then later on, you see, within 2 months they have made another, they have made another board meeting. So there's one violation. Okay, more than 120 days. And now see here, there are 4 independent directors. Okay, since the chairman is non-executive director, independent directors has to be 1/3. Okay, one of them resigned. Okay, out of 10, 1/3 is how much? 10 divided by 3, that is a minimum 3.33 has to be there. This is the minimum. So round it off to the next number, 4. Okay, this is the minimum requirement. 4 independent directors were there and he had resigned in 25/5/19. Okay, if he had resigned, then we have to fill in how many days? Either in 3 months or next board meeting, whichever is later. Okay, 3 months was, say like it is 26th August, I think, 26/8. 5 plus 3, 8, 26th August, and next day 26th August. And in after May, which board resolution have been, which board meeting in July they have taken, right? In June. So next board meeting was on 1/6/19 and 3 months time frame, that is 26/8/19, whichever is later. This is 26/8/19 is the latter date. By this date they have to fill this independent director. But when they have appointed, that is they have appointed on 1st September, that is after this. So this is also non-compliance. Okay, the chairman of the audit committee did not attend the annual general meeting. What we have is, in the chairman of the audit committee he has to attend the AGM and answer and report to the shareholders. Okay, this is again a non-compliance. The internal audit reports were obtained by the audit committee on quarterly basis. Okay, Q1 audit report commented on certain serious irregularities as regards to electronic online auction of scrap. Okay, the agenda of audit committee did not deliberate or taken note out of it. You see, audit committee has to mandatorily review internal audit reports and have to respond to the irregularities that were there. Again a non-compliance. You see, there is no woman director only. You see, first of all, LODR regulations were applicable to listed entities and every listed entity shall have a woman director. But here no woman director. Again a non-compliance. They have non-compliance in every part, right? You see, the audit committee shall meet 4 times. The number of days between meetings held in 1st September and 1st January is more than 120 days. So non-compliance. And the chairman is non-executive director, so 1/3 director should be independent. In this case, 4 directors. And you see, independent director has to be filed within next 3 months or the start of next meeting after such resign. He had resigned in 5th month, that is May. And after May, in June, they had a board meeting. Either in that meeting or 3 months from the resignation, he has to appoint. He had done later on. See, in 1/9. So there's a default in the compliance of corporate governance. And chairman shall present at AGM to answer shareholder queries. So this is also a non-compliance, and the audit committee should mandatorily review the audit reports, internal audit reports. Again, this is also a non-compliance. And the auditor should ascertain whether throughout the period the board of directors comprises optimum combination of executive and non-executive directors with at least one woman director. This is also not in compliance. So all the things were not in compliance. Okay. And we'll see the 9th question, that is Mrs. All-in-One Limited is a large size listed entities. Obviously LODR regulations applies to only listed entities. Okay. With focus on design and delivery of custom-made IT applications for various business entities in India and abroad, the management wants to know whether they are required to constitute a risk management committee as per LODR regulations. Okay, in risk management committee, we'll see it in a snapshot. Yeah. Risk management committee, the number of members have to be 3 members, and majority of them has to be board of directors. Okay, in risk management committee, minimum 3 members have to be there, and majority have to be board of directors. And ID proportion, that is independent director proportion, at least one independent director has to be there. If at all it is a company having superior right equity shares, then at least 2/3 have to be there. Independent directors have to be 2/3. And the chairperson of this risk management committee could either be a board of director or could be a senior executive. Okay. And the meetings, they have to meet at least twice in a year, and the maximum gap should not be more than 180 days. Okay. And the quorum is 2 or 1/3, whichever is greater, and minimum one independent director has to present in the meetings of the risk management committee. Yeah, there were a lot of amendments with regards to the risk management committee this time, so you might expect a question with regards to that. Where is the risk management committee? Yeah, risk management committee is applicable to top 1000 listed entities and high value debt listed entities. What is high value debt listed entity? It's a listed entity which is having so much of debt, that is its equity shares or equity portion or shareholders fund is so low, but it is mostly running on debt oriented. It's mostly debt, it having more of debt than equity or reserves and surplus. Okay, for these companies risk management committee is required. And what is their duties were, you see, in order to formulate a risk management policy. What is risk management committee first duty? To frame a risk management policy for that company. What does this policy contain? It is, you see, what is risk management? It is to mitigate the risk of the companies to the maximum extent possible. Why? How a company will have risk? You see, company have internal risk and external risk. First, identification of that risk. In order to mitigate some problem, in order to mitigate a risk, first what the auditor has to do? Auditor has to identify those risks, whether that was internal risk or external risk. And then after identifying any kind of risk, fraud, irregularities, what is our golden rule? We have to provide some remedial measures. You see, measures for the risk mitigation. Okay, after that, business continuity plan. You see, we have to make sure that some risk, whether it's internal or external, should not affect on the going concern of the entity. So we have to just prepare the business continuity plan also. If what happens, if this risk was this is the risk, so what are the measures we have to do and how we could move forward our business. So these three things have to be done. With regards to the risk management policy, contains these three things, and risk management committee ensures appropriate methodology, process or systems were in place to monitor and evaluate risk, whether the process systems were there in order to evaluate the risk and monitor and oversee implementation of risk management policy. They were preparing the risk management policy, and they also have to follow up that. They have to follow up how it is being implemented, how this risk management policy is being implemented, and this risk management policy have to be reviewed once in at least 2 years. You see, this is not meetings is 2 times per an year and 180 days gap. The gap should not be more than 180 days, but here it is, see, this is an amendment with respect to the review of risk management policy. This is policy, that is committee meetings. Okay, you have to review the risk management policy once in at least 2 years. Okay, that's fine. And keep the board of directors informed with regards to the recommendations and actions to be taken with regards to that risk and all. And the board and the appointment, removal and terms of remuneration with regards to the chief risk officer also were decided by the risk management committee. This is with regards to the risk management company. Mostly what do they do is they do formulate or establish risk management policy which contains identification of risk, measures for risk mitigation and business continuity plans, and they actually review that once in 2 years and see the implementation of that, monitor and oversee the implementation of risk management policy. That's it with regards to policy. And what do? They actually check whether the process systems were there in order to evaluate the risk or not, and they will communicate to the board of directors the recommended actions and all, recommendations and actions, and they'll see appointment of chief risk officer. That's it. These were simple, simple points with regards to risk management committee. You see, board of directors shall constitute risk management committee, obviously periodical review of risk management policy once in at least 2 years, and they shall have minimum 3 members, majority of them shall be board of directors, at least 1 independent director, and if it is SR, equity shares were there, at least 2/3 shall be, and the chairperson should be a member of board or a senior executive. And the risk management shall meet at least twice in a year, and quorum shall be 2 members or 1/3, and minimum 1 independent director has to be there, at least 1 board of director has to be there. And with regards to the meetings of risk management, they should be 180 days, they should not be more than 180 days time frame. And with regards to the responsibility and all, they have to mandatorily review, and it is applicable to top 1000 listed entities and high value debt listed entity and all. These were the points with regards to risk management committee. That's it. And now we'll see our next question, that is question number 10. We are halfway done, guys. Okay, XYZ Limited has conducted 4 meetings. Okay, this is, I think it is board meetings. Okay, on April 10th, June. So no, just within 2 months, less than 120 days. June, July, August, September, October. You see, again, I guess there's a time gap of more than 120 days, I guess. See, June 15 days, July 31 days, August 31 days, and October 18 days. Wait, yeah. 15 plus 31 plus 31. June, July, August. June, July, August, September also there, right? September and then October. Okay, wait, what had happened? Yeah, 4 months gap. 15 plus 31 plus 31 September to, yeah, it's less than 130 days. Okay, and it's October to February, that is say like November, December, January, 3 months, no problem. Okay, does it comply with the provisions with regards to conducting of meeting? Okay, you see, June 15 to October is more than 120 days. You see, I think we have calculated it wrong, guys. You see, from June, it is July, 15 days, July, August again 31st days, and September again it is 30 days, October again 18 days. 15 plus 31 plus 31 plus 30 plus 18, 125 days, guys. Yes, we are right, more than 120 days time frame is there. So there is a non-compliance with regards to that. See, we have to write they have to meet at least 4 times and there should not be more than 120 days time frame and all. You have to write and then sync it with the matters that were there in the question and then just write the conclusion that they were more than 125 days. Okay, with regards to the statutory auditor of ABC Limited has resigned on July 10th of 2020, whether he shall be liable for issuing limited review on the quarter ended June. You see, after June quarter, he had resigned within 10 days, right? So he had to give limited review on June quarter ended, but need not give report a limited review for the quarter ended December, right? So, sorry, September. So see, within 45 days, so he has to issue limited review for such quarter ended June. Okay, so it's less than 45 days, he has to issue a limited review for the quarter ended June 30th. Okay, he need not issue for the quarter ended September as it is not more than 45 days. Okay, you have to write the provisions which we have discussed earlier. Okay, now question number 12. PQR auditor of XYZ Limited has signed limited review on report of second and third quarter. Okay, make sure that they have, you see, this is not a continuous 3 quarters, this is only 2 and 3. They have not given limited review for first quarter. Okay, whether the auditor is liable to issue the limited review on fourth quarter before resignation? No, because it is applicable only if he had done for all the first 3 quarters. He had done a limited review for all the 3 quarters. Okay, see, the listed entities or material subsidiaries appointing the auditor shall ensure in compliance with the auditor had signed limited review for the first 3 quarters for the financial year, that is all the 3 quarters were included. Then the auditor shall before resignation issue the limited review for the last quarter and give audit report for that financial year. Okay, in instance case, see, they have given only limited review for second and third quarter, so auditor is not liable to issue limited review report for the fourth quarter and he need not sign the audit report also. Okay, and that's it. Now we'll see question number 13, that is the board of directors of PQR Limited had laid down the code of conduct for all board members and senior management. You see, like whistleblower policy, this is also a direct question. I'll just show it to you in your study material. Okay, the auditor is provided with the annual compliance affirmations received from the board of director members and explained that since there had been no change in the composition of senior management, the previous year affirmations may be considered valid. Is the contention of the company valid? You see, what are affirmations? You see, I'm strong, I'm complying with that. These were what affirmations were. You see, affirmations with regards to code of conduct is I'm integrity, I have integrity, I am like honesty, I'm not showing any bias. These were the affirmations that the board of directors have to give, like say oath, right? I'm so sincere, I'll act honestly, and all these were the affirmations. These affirmations you have to give every year. Okay, you see, I'll just show you the things, right? I think it's code of conduct. Where was that? Yeah, here it is. See, like whistleblower policy, it's also an independent question. See, a board shall lay down the code of conduct. That is how the people has to behave. People within the company has to behave. How the board of directors have to behave to all the board members and senior management of the listed entity. There should be a code of conduct, and all the board members, senior management personnel shall affirm compliance with the code on annual basis. See, it is shall. Okay, and the annual report of the company shall contain a declaration that has to be signed by CEO, and it has to be posted in website of the company. You see, mostly, or for what are all the declarations that you see in this audit committee and corporate governance chapter, and with regards to SEBI LODR regulations and all, there has to be declaration in two ways. That is, in company's website, any kind of declarations or any kind of disclosures, they have to be put it in website, plus in board report. It's a board report which is a part of annual report. All the things have to be disclosed in company's website and company's board of report. Okay, here also these affirmations that they have been taken have to be disclosed in website of the company. You see, they have to affirm, okay, every year. But what they have said, they are not doing that this year because it is same as the senior management and all. You see, what is they wanted to tell you is that there is no change in composition of senior management. Mostly what senior management has to disclose as per LODR regulations is they have to disclose whether any transactions that the company had entered in which this senior management has interest in, like it's their friend's company, or if it's their, like say, a relative's company to which the contracts have been given and the suppliers were there. So all these disclosures have to be given, whether they were independent or not. You'll see them in the company audit also, right, if you were reading it in law. Okay, so those are all the things, right? This thing every year has to be done. They have to do it every year. Okay, see, under SEBI LODR regulations, all the board members and senior management have to affirm, they shall affirm the compliance with the code on annual basis. Okay, see, the decision considered for previous year affirmations from the senior management personnel is not valid with the LODR regulation. They shall do that every year on annual basis. Okay, that is what law. R Limited had established a vigilance mechanism to enable its directors and employees to report genuine concern. You see, vigilance mechanism, it's mostly like a whistleblower policies. Okay, and seek protection against victimization. Okay, what is this actually whistle mechanism or whistleblower policy is? You see, a fraud might be happening in the company. That fraud was done by the board of directors, or say like CEO have been doing that fraud. What the CEO had done, CEO had come to the accountant and said that, okay, you see, quotations were asked by the company from various parties, but out of these all quotations, you have to disclose the information, the tender amount to me, to the CEO, that is to the CEO. CEO is asking accountant to disclose the confidential information to him. Okay, with regards to any kind of tenders and all, I'm making up the example right now, right? So, or so that he would just give that tender to person in which CEO is interested in. So this might be a fraud, right? Yeah. Now what the accountant could do, accountant could just say that to the auditor. Accountant could say to the auditor with regards to how CEO had asked to disclose the confidential information to him. So this is a fraud that might be happening. So he is the victimization. So he is the whistleblower. Accountant is the whistleblower. He had blowed the fraud that had been happening in the company. So CEO, what he might do, he might just suspend the accountant and all. For that, the act had given a protection to this accountant. He is the victimization. So if CEO had resigned this accountant and all, then he will be victim for that disclosing the fact, right? Disclosing the fraud. So law has given protection to that accountant. Now in this question they are asking about that protection. Okay. The details of this mechanism are available on the company's intranet. You see, under LODR regulations, what are the two things that you have to disclose? One is in website and second thing is in board's report. You intranet and all nahi chalega. Okay, which is accessible by the directors and employees. Okay, are the measures taken by company in line with LODR regulations? No, they were not in line with LODR regulations. You see, I'll show that in the study material also here in 13. Yeah, see here. The whistle mechanism under this section shall provide an adequate safeguards against victimization of person who use such mechanism. Okay, victimization of persons, you see, the act is safeguarding the persons who are doing that, and make provisions for direct access to the chairperson of the audit committee or in exceptional cases, and provide the details of establishment shall be disclosed in company's website and in board report. Okay, all the disclosures, all kind of rules and regulations with regards to LODR regulations have to be disclosed in two areas, website and board of directors report, sorry, board report. Okay, that's it. So this is, they were just disclosing only on intranet, failed to meet the LODR regulation, that was not in compliance with the LODR regulations. Okay, now 15th question, 5 more questions to go. Okay, A Associates have been appointed as statutory auditor for S Limited, and S Limited entered into frequent business transactions with entities belonging to the promoter, related party transactions. Yeah, this company is a listed entity and has to submit compliance. Listed entities, LODR regulations come. Okay, submit a compliance certificate to the stock exchanges. Okay, even related party disclosures, they have to disclose it to the SEBI under LODR regulations. The auditor seeks your guidance on disclosures of requirement in respect to related party transactions under LODR. You see, we'll see it in our amendment sheet with regards to related party disclosures. You see, every listed entity for every 6 months within 15 days from date of publishing of its standalone and CFS results have to submit the related party disclosures to the SEBI stock exchange, and a high value listed entity, debt listed entity also have to submit for every half year. That is obviously 6 months, right? It is mostly 6 months. And what all it has to disclose: the loans and advances to subsidiaries, associates, firms, companies in which directors are interested in, okay, by name and the amount. What all they have to disclose: the name of that company and for how they were related to that director, whether it's through subsidiary and all relation, and that particular amount of loan that they have advanced, and plus what all they have to disclose: investments made by the loanee. Loanee is somebody who, to whom we give loans. Okay, this is the company, and we are giving loan to one company, and this company is holding shares in our holding company or holding shares in our subsidiary company. Those details you have to give. 2 details: loans in which directors are interested in, all the firms, subsidiaries, associates. Second thing, we are given loan to one company and that company is buying shares of our holding company or subsidiary company. Those details you have to give. And transactions of the listed entities with any persons in which see all the promoter or promoter group, that's what we have seen it in our question, which holds more than 10% of shareholding, 10% or more. That is, if they hold 10%, then also they have to disclose it in this related party disclosure. If it touches related party disclosures applicable. Okay, see here, this third point gets applied here, right? See here. Yeah, usually corporate governance report will be submitted under quarterly compliance within 120 days from the end of the quarter, and related party disclosures were submitted half yearly. within 15 days for the listed entities and half yearly for the high value listed entities in our amendments report, right? Yeah, 15 days is amendment here. Okay, and if it's a high value debt listed entity, along with the financial statements, yeah, along with the financial statements. If the listed entities, 15 days time gap had been given. Okay, and yeah, we have just said that it has to be disclosed in the website. All these time limits have been given. You see, 15 days, they have to be submitted within 15 days and all, if it's a high value, along with the standalone financial statement for that half year. All the time frames that we have discussed have been given here. And now we'll see our 16th question, that is, Genuine Limited, G Limited, had established the Internal Compliance Committee under Sexual Harassment of Women Workplace. Okay, of the committee, members are available on the company intranet. You see, again they were disclosing on intranet. Where they have to disclose? They have to disclose in website and board report, which is accessible by all employees. However, no disclosures regarding the number of complaints pertaining to that harassment of women at workplace being made. What all the things they have to disclose? You see, the number of complaints that have been filed and the number of complaints they have disposed in that year and the number of complaints that was still pending. You see, we'll see that in our study material. There's a last one diagram would be there, right? This is actually last point. Yeah, here you see disclosures in relation to the harassment for women, that is the number of complaints that were filed during the financial year and that were disposed and that were pending as on the end of the financial year. You have to disclose. Where you have to disclose? In the website and in board report. Okay, so the company providing details on intranet had failed to meet the requirements of the POSH Act and SEBI LODR regulations. Okay, and now the question number 17 with regards to composition of board of directors. You see, it's a public company, it's a listed entity, LODR applicable, and amongst the top 500 listed entities. Okay, on base of market capitalization. Okay, Mr. P had been appointed as an auditor and he was verifying the composition of board of directors. Okay, there are 9 directors, out of which 4 are non-executive directors. You see, under top 500 listed entities, it comes within the scope of top 2000, right? Under top, for all the top 2000, minimum 6 members have to be directors. You see, 9 directors. Okay, no problem, that had been complied with, out of which 4 non-executive directors and 3 independent directors. Okay, optimum composition, at least half, 50%, at least 50% were non-executive directors. Okay, that's optimum composition. And 1 woman director. Yeah, that's fine, and she's an executive director. You see, what is one thing that was there is for the top 500 listed entities, for top 1000 listed entities, for top 1000 listed entities, 1 woman independent director has to be there. Since this 500 listed entities come in under the ambit of top 1000 listed entities, see, this woman director has to be an independent director, not an executive director. Okay, there's a non-compliance with regards to that. And Mr. M had been appointed as non-executive chairperson of the board and his brother-in-law. You see, non-executive chairperson, you see, for the, what are the chairperson's requirements for top 500 listed entities? The chairperson has to be a non-executive director plus a non-relative to MD and CEO. But see, here is brother-in-law of MD. This is a violence of LODR regulations. If you see our limits snapshot here, you see here what we have said here. Top 500 chairperson should be a non-executive director plus not related to managing director or CEO. Okay, but he is a relative, so they have what, right? Oh wait, so they have violated the regulations of SEBI LODR regulations. Okay, we have to check whether they were complying with the requirements of SEBI LODR regulations or not. See, we'll check for that. The auditor should ascertain whether not less than 50 board of directors were non-executive directors. It's more than, right, 5 out of 4 is more than 50% of non-executive directors, no problem in that. And auditor should verify chairperson is non-executive directors, then he has to be 1/3 board of directors have to be independent directors. They have just given the what this portion, right? They have just given this formulation limit, you see here. And the chairperson for top 500 should be a non-executive director and not related to managing director or CEO of that company, but he is actually brother-in-law, relative under Companies Act, so they have not complied with that regulation. And with regards to, it is concluded that the present composition of K Limited does not comply with the requirements of LODR regulation, as there is no woman director who is an independent director. There have to be a one woman independent director for the first 1000 limited listed entities, right? Okay, and there should be 5 non-executive directors. And now we'll see question number 18, that is CA Pradeep is appointed auditors of D Limited, a listed company, to the audit financial statements for the year ended 21, and it had paid up share capital of 5.97 crore. Okay, while auditing directors remuneration, CA Pradeep observed that Mr. S had been appointed as independent director. Okay, Mr. Independent Director is holding shares of 8.95 lakhs and his wife is holding shares of 2.985 shares. Okay, could independent director hold shares of the company? Yes, but it should be less than 2%. If it touches 2%, then he is disqualified to be appointed as independent director. Okay, we'll see whether these two constitute how much percentage of total paid up share capital. Okay, I think there's a solution that had been given here. You see, 9.8 lakhs 95,500 and his wife shareholding total amounts to 11 lakhs, and total paid up share capital work is 5 crore 97 lakhs, and the percentage is 2%. If it had touched 2%, if it touched 2% means he is not allowed to be appointed as independent director. Okay, CA Pradeep raised an objection with regards to appointment of independent director, but other director explained that holding of shares is less than a prescribed limit, hence he is eligible to be appointed as independent director. How CA Pradeep will deal with this situation and how will you report this issue? You see, clearly it had touched 2% and he is not eligible to be appointed as independent director. You see, in this case, CA Pradeep should mention in his report, that is audited report, with regards to the, wait, who is CA Pradeep? Yeah, with regards to the disqualification in the appointment of independent directors, and he should mention the name of the disqualified director with regards to disqualification in his audit report. Okay, that's it. And coming to the last question, that is, just give me a second guys. Yeah, Mrs. FCA and Associates, Chartered Accountant, is one of the leading audit firms in Guwahati. The firm received an assignment to examine the compliance conditions, okay, of corporate governance, okay, LODR regulations, a listed entity with no outstanding superior equity shares, and the firm had made the following observations. Okay, they only had made few observations and we'll check what are those. Observation number 1, Mr. F, one of the director of the company, also the chairman of stakeholder relationship committee, was acting as the audit committee chairman for 4 other listed entities. You see, what are the maximum directorships that a director could hold? We have seen that, right? 7 listed entities for, if it's a management or whole-time director. For the independent director, he should hold for 3 companies. But while talking about the committees, in order to act as a member in the committee, first thing, they could maximum hold for 10 companies, but not more than 10 committees. Okay, if at all they wanted to be a chairperson of that committee, any company, in any company, maximum 5 chairmanships. Okay, not more than 5 chairmanships. Okay, but these entities exclude, they exclude private companies and foreign companies, section 8 companies. We'll just go and check that in study material, guys, right? We'll just check that. Where was that, buddy? Just a second, guys. Yeah, here it is. Yeah, you see, a director should not be a member in more than 10 committees, that is 10 committees, no problem, and act as a chairperson for more than 5 committees. 5 committees, no problem. If it touched 5 committees or if it touched 10 committees, no problem. But this shall not include companies that were in private limited companies and foreign companies or high value debt listed entities or section 8 companies. They have to be excluded. Only listed have to be included. Okay, what all the exceptions for these companies? Private companies, and if it's a foreign company, section 8 companies, or a high value debt listed entities. Okay, we have to exclude these companies in counting the maximum limit for those committees. Okay, first we'll see what is the observation. Yeah, what here is, now he is chairperson in one committee in this company and acting as a chairperson in 4 other companies, maximum 5, that's fine. And he is also doing a chairperson in one private company, but this private company is excluded from the list, so no deviation, right? No violation of rule. We'll see the same thing here. As per LODR regulations, they could maximum 5 companies, but a private company has been excluded, so there is no violation in the limit. Okay, now we'll see second observation. NRC committee consists of 6 members which are regularly met biannually. You see, biannually they have to meet 2 times in a year, not once in 2 years. Okay, you see the snapshot. NRC committee, NRC committee have to meet at least once in 1 year. Okay, sorry for that. They have to meet once in every year, but they have met once in every 2 years. Okay, so this is a violation in the LODR regulations. You see, they have to meet at least once in a year, but they have met biannually, so they have to be reported by the auditor that there is a violation that had been happening there. And observation 3, that is, the risk management committee consists of 9 directors, out of which the number of independent directors is majority. Okay, this is how it has to be composited, right? Yeah, minimum 3, and majority has to be board of directors, and ID independent director has to be at least 1. Okay, no problem with that. And but it was less than 2/3 of the total strength. No problem. Independent directors minimum 1 person, it's more than enough as per act. You see here, as per LODR regulation, only in case of listed entities outstanding SR, there have to be at least 2/3 of the person has to be independent directors. You see, but this company is not having any kind of superior rights, right? See, if it's having superior rights equity shares, then only 2/3 have to be there. 2/3 have to be independent directors. But here, this company is not having any superior right equity shares that were listed. So no problem. One director, one independent director is more than enough. There is no violation, need not be reported by the auditor. Only thing that he has to report is observation 2 with regards to the meetings of that committee, NRC committee. That's it. We have completed our questions with regards to audit committee and corporate governance. Now we'll just briefly check out what all things we have missed. Mostly we have covered all the provisions with regards to that. Mostly 20 to 30% will be discussing it now, okay, so that you will also have a completion, right, like fulfillment, that we have completely understood one chapter. Okay, see, first thing, this is the first frame, right? Yeah, LODR regulations. You see, the issues of corporate governance. What corporate governance mostly deal with? Corporate governance, as we said, it is a system that actually makes transparency with the management, and also it regulates mostly the management. Okay, what all the management does? Management actually does form board of directors, or they form committees and all, right? You see, all those responsibilities were governed by the corporate governance. Responsibilities of the board and their composition, appointment, and their remuneration, and their meetings, roles and responsibilities of various committees. See here, audit committee, risk management committee and all. And what do management will give in an annual report? Management will give management discussion and analysis. So they will also check for that, and they'll provide information to shareholders, that we'll be discussing it in a few minutes. Okay, and with regards to compliance certificate, that will be given by CEOs and all that, and with regards to the related party transaction, related party disclosures, and how they were doing that, and management of not only this company but also the management of the subsidiary company. This is so simple that anybody could understand. You see, what are all the things that we have done in the chapter had been given mostly like an index here. Okay, all the responsibilities of various board of directors, and responsibilities and composition of various committees, and the management discussion and analysis that we have seen in first question, right? Okay, and now we'll see the audit committee here. Audit committee, we have seen, right, the composition, 3 directors, and they have to be financially literate, and all these things we have seen, right? And meetings of the audit committee has to be 4, and they have to be 120 days, that was there. And while talking about the role of audit committee, what, see, they will look after 3 things. First thing, with regards to the money, like how the purpose, whether the company had raised any loan, or they have issued any, had gone for any kind of IPOs, FPOs, how they have been utilized and all, they'll see that in statement of deviation. Second thing, with regards to auditors appointment, auditors remuneration, how the audit procedure were. And with regards to management, you see, any kind of related party transactions, how they were making the financial reporting and all. These all things they will see. You see, financial reporting process, appointment of the auditors, and payment to the statutory auditors, and reviewing the financial statements. And see here, matters that are required to be stated in director responsibility statements. And this is like changes of any kind of accounting policies or accounting entries, estimates, and with regards to any legal compliances and related party transactions. These are all the things that auditor will look after and review. Okay, and moreover that, with regards to the money, what do? They actually scrutiny the intercorporate loans, and if at all with regards to valuation of undertakings or any kind of assets with regards to the entity, and discussion with internal auditors, and they will also look after the internal financial controls. I have said the difference between internal controls, internal financial controls, and internal controls over financial reporting, right? If not, I'll just quickly sum up that. You see, what our internal controls were, you see, company has various departments. Say like company has accounting department, purchase department, all kind of departments were there, R&D department and all. All the controls comes under internal controls. What are all the things, what all the rules and regulations in which company has to follow will come under internal controls. But something that relates to the financial statements, you see, accounting department, finance department, these comes under financial reporting process. These actually influence the financial reporting, preparation of financial statements, right? So the internal controls around these departments would be treated as internal financial controls. Then what is ICFR? ICFR is, you see, these were the controls which actually create a reliability on the financial statements, financial reporting. Say like there's a financial statement, but the CEO had not signed those financial statements. Who will believe that these financial statements have been prepared reliably and true and fair manner? You see, that signature control and all, after every board resolution, everybody stamping, doing signature and all, these controls were internal controls over financial reporting, which cast a reliability on those financial statements that have been prepared. Okay, so evaluation of internal financial controls, and with regards to any kind of whistleblower mechanism that we have seen, and utilization of loans that were there. Okay, these were all the roles and duties of the audit committee and all. As we have said, committee all the questions in the committee could be asked in two categories. One with regards to either their composition, second thing with regards to their role. We have seen audit committee composition. If at all you didn't remember, the snapshot will be there in the Telegram channel, go check that out. And with the role, we have seen here to whom they were responsible, to whom they guide, and what are all the persons, and what is that person's duty, they will check that. You see, audit committee is there to monitor the management, and it is there to monitor the auditors. They will do that. Okay, what are all the things that management does, and this limited review and all we have discussed. And with regards to the audit committee, this is with regards to the applicability of the audit committee. I have already said that in monetary limits section also. Again, I'll just repeat. Public company is divided into two categories. Listed, audit committee is applicable. Unlisted, if it's paid up share capital touches 10 CR, audit committee is applicable. If its turnover touches 100 CR, audit committee applicable. And if its loans, borrowings exceeds 50 CR, then audit committee is applicable. If it touches 50 CR, audit committee is not applicable. Only if it exceeds 50 CR, audit committee is applicable. And with regards to the role, functions of the audit committee, same as roles. See, examination of financial statements and checking the auditor's performance, appointment, remuneration, and with regards to any kind of scrutiny of intercorporate loans, valuation of undertakings, internal financial controls, all these things have been repeated, right? And that's it. And this is a whistle mechanism also we have checked for. And this is the mandatory review by audit committee we have discussed in our question discussion, right? The things for management discussion and analysis, and this related parties transaction was not there. That is actually an amendment. Remember, management, what management gives? Management discussion and analysis in annual report, and gives management letters to the auditor, those things. And with regards to the internal auditors, auditor report and their remuneration, appointment and all, and with regards to statement of deviations, money related matter. Okay, and now we'll see another point is, see, composition of board. We have discussed composition of board, and you see, we have discussed point with regards to independent non-executive director, that they should have all these and all. See, independent director should have integrity. Integrity means what? If you go to Google and ask what is integrity, it is like you're doing what you're saying, right? It is like manas ekam, vachas ekam, karman ekam, mahatmanam. You have heard it somewhere, right? have heard it here only. So integrity, the person should have integrity. He has to do what he has to say. He has to say what is he doing. Okay, integrity. And he should not be a promoter. No material pecuniary relationship during previous 2 years, and the relative should not have a pecuniary relationship also. And he should not be a personal, he should not be a supplier, and he should not be employee with regards to that. And he should not hold with his relatives 2% or more. If it touches 2%, he is disqualified. Okay, he should not be a material supplier, and he should be more than 21 years of age. Okay, and this last point, see, I forgot this to say this last point. And who is not non-independent director of another company, of which any non-independent director of the listed entity is an independent director. Okay, what they were saying here is, you see here, there's a company A, there's a company B, there is a there is actually a non-independent director A and a non-independent director B in company B. A is non-independent director in company A, B is non-independent director in B. They're related, see, mostly the same. Okay, now what A had asked B, that there was an independent director requirement in our company A, you come and be as independent director. Then what had B said? Barter system. Even we require independent director requirement, you come and be independent director in our company. This arrangement should not be there. This is what they were saying in this small point. Okay, they have to not appoint like that. Okay, and with regards to some disclosures for remuneration of directors, if at all a director's remuneration exceeds 5 crore or 2.5% for net profits. See, this is individual basis and this is aggregate basis, a group of directors. Okay, see, if an individual director's remuneration exceeds 5 crore or 2.5% of net profit, whichever is higher, they have to take special resolutions from the shareholder in order to pay him the remuneration. And or a group of directors whose annual remuneration exceeds 5% of net profits, then also they have to take special resolution from shareholders. Okay, these two things, they have to take special resolution from shareholders. This have not covered in our question discussion, please do check for that. Okay, and this is with regards to the these committees and all caps were there, right? We have discussed that. And independent directors, we have discussed that. See, reappointment of filling of independent directors, it is what, earliest but not later than immediate next meeting or 3 months, whichever is later, right? That one we have discussed it in question bank. And for with regards to the meetings of the board, first meeting have to be within 30 days, and they have to meet every year. There have to be 4 meetings every year, but the time gap should not be 120 days. This is there in our screenshot, right? 4 meetings have to be there, and there should not be 120 gaps. Okay, and with regards to the section 8 companies, they shall hold meeting for at least once within every 6 calendar months. And for IFC public and private company, they shall hold first meeting within 60 days and hold at least 1 meeting of board of directors in every half year, say 6 months once, and first board meeting has to be within 60 days. And that's it. Again, the gap should not be more than 120 days. Okay, that's it with regards to that. And see, this code of conduct also we have discussed with respect to one question, direct question. This whistle mechanism also we have discussed. And material subsidiary, this also we have discussed, right? Yeah. And now talking about you see, a small point that I wanted to tell you is that if a listed entity want to dispose the shares to less than or equal to 50%, you see, it had hold 75% of shares in one company, but it want to make it to 50%. then what the audit committee has, then what they have to do, they have to pass a special resolution in the general meeting. Okay, this special resolution is not required when it is ordered by court or tribunal or under IBC section. Okay, this is one small point that could be asked in MCQ. Please make a note out of it. And if you want to sell assets for more than 20%, till 20% no problem, but if it's more than 20%, then you have to take special resolution. Same exceptions, if it is by order of court or tribunal, no problem, or from IBC section also no problem. That's it with regards to that. And NRC committee, we have discussed about NRC committee. And stakeholder relationship committee, we have discussed with that. Risk management committee, we have discussed. Statement of deviations, all those 2 points only, right? Deviations with regards to objects from the offer document, and with regards to any category wise, that is capital to sales and all. Quarterly statement, audit committee has to mandatorily review this quarterly statement of deviations and annual statement of funds and all. And this is what the information that they have to give to the shareholders with regards to any kind of appointment, with regards to any kind of director. See, what the audit committee will do, audit committee will recommend to the board of directors with regards to actually appointment of appointment of auditor. Same wise, board of directors, what it will do, board of directors will actually give shareholders that the resume of the director who are proposed to be appointed as a director, and his expertise, his executive directors, we use expertise, right? Those, and any kind of relationships, and his previous directorship, and any kind of shareholding if he has. Okay, shareholding, his directorships, and any relationships, and his expertise and resume of that board of directors. And with regards to transfer and transmission of the securities, and the board of directors should at least once in fortnight is for at least once in 50 days have to discuss with regards to how this procedure was going on, and that's it. And with regards to the compliance certificate, CEO and CFO has to give that they have complied, that there is no material or untrue statement, they do not contain any material untrue statement or a false statement, or the financial statement that they have been providing was true and fair view, and no transactions were fraudulent, illegal, or violating the code of conduct. These are all the things. And any kind of significant changes in the internal controls over financial reporting, ICFR, that were there, and any changes in the accounting policies, any instances of fraud, they have to report to that. And with regards to the disclosures of management discussion and analysis, we have first discussed only that, right? Okay, and other disclosures were, see, this harassment we have discussed, and with regards to the accounting treatment, they have to just report. And with regards to related party disclosures, we have discussed. And with regards to the disclosures of transparency, we have just read that and you'll get that question, right? And that's it. We have completed our audit committee and corporate governance chapter. All topics have been covered in this Q&A session. Okay, thank you guys.